from your mobile phone, TV or PC. I'm on whatever screen you own. Jumping from tabs to apps, I suggest you don't. I promise you'll miss out on information that is vital. What I do is feature guests, some even call them the best. So I'm going viral with idols, it's so classic. Like cassette CDs and vinyls. You already know it's time for my show. Right.
Alright, so let's do this. I've mentioned this to people along my journey, that, you know, this man that's joining us tonight has been a mentor to me, a Yoda, someone I can always go to for help and advice. My first recording was with this dude back when I was 13 years old. He produced the first original song I've ever recorded. He's toured the world. He's DJ'd all over the world and has DJ'd for Africa Bambaataa. He's got pictures with Pun. He's got pictures with Fat Joe. He's got pictures with Flow Rider, DJ Red Alert, My Verse, R.A. the Rugged Man, to name a few. Damn. I remember being at my grandmother's house. It was the summer. We was in the basement playing pool. We were listening to Hot 97, and Jay-Z shouted out my cousin live on Hot 97.
Nice.
From the mixtapes to Bluntsquad Productions to Bronx Mob to Bluntsquad TV, I am beyond honored to welcome our guest tonight to Quarantine and Rap. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx's very own DJ HekTek.
Yes.
What's going on? Please. Thank you. Good intro.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It's only right to do something for someone who's helped me along my way.
Respect.
Hek, once again, welcome to Quarantine and Rap. Like I said, it's an honor, but like, let's get into the shits. When did you start DJing?
I would say like 1990, 1991, like my first time touching the turntable.
And what inspired you to become a DJ?
Growing up in the Bronx, watching, you know, the DJs at park jams and stuff like that during the time, like the early 80s, mid 80s, I'll say, being a small kid, you know, going to school. They used to throw jams right in the school park, like during the weekends. And that was like my first glimpse of seeing like a DJ in action, you know, for what I remember.
That's dope. So you grew up like in the golden era where it was like the shit, like where what you call it, where the block parties was just like every other weekend type of thing.
Yeah, it was still fresh. It was like, you know, obviously hip hop was developed, they say, in the 70s. So I was seeing like the second generation of it, you know, still seeing it fresh with the jams. It was still kind of brand new, if you want to say.
Nice.
And did you start making beats at the same time as starting to DJ, or was it something like a move that you made later on along your journey?
Yeah, that came later. Probably like maybe about 3 or 4 years later. You know, it was almost like kind of, you know, if you want to say, it was just like part, you know, another connection to the music, if you want to say, is making beats. But I'm saying like DJing usually comes out, you know, where dudes come out doing DJing and then get into the beats because you're messing with music and, you know, how the whole structure of a DJ works. Similar to a producer, beat maker.
And do you remember the first record that you actually started messing with to sample?
Wow, that's a good one. No, but I know that I was messing with a lot of break beats, like, you know, typically a lot of producers was. So I was like sampling you know, a lot of the original break beats that a lot of these guys was using. There's a whole compilation that that's came out during the 80s that was like you know, just like a bunch of different songs from songs that came out, or beats from songs that came out from the 70s, 80s, you know, and they would take that break beat and then loop it And then they made an album of it. So it was just like, you know, some of them just had loops, and then some of it was just like the original song. And then people would take, you know, the drums from there, and then kind of like, you know, either you would sample the individual drum or you would take the loop itself and just play. So that's how that started. That was the first, if you want to say, songs or beats that I was doing any sampling with.
And how did you and Africa Bambaataa connect to where you started touring with him as his DJ?
Well, Bam is from Bronx River, and you know, we got family that's from Bronx River, so we seen Bam like forever. But you know, he lived not far from where I was at, and we would see him come by the neighborhood all the time. And you know, I was at that time doing other type of activities, and you know, I just constantly run into him, and I told him, I think it was a friend of mine that kind of like formally introduced me to him, because we would always say what's up to Bam, but we didn't know him. And a friend that grew up with him was like, yeah, you know, my boy's a DJ, and he said, yo, you gotta hear his stuff or whatever. And I think at some point I ended up, you know, getting him a tape. He was like, at that time it was mixtapes, like literally a mixtape.
Right.
And I gave him a mixtape, and I think I seen him sometime after that, and he liked it. And I think he invited me to one of the events that he was doing, the anniversary. It was a couple of my boys, and we went out there to check out, you know, what he was doing, and, you know, kind of getting more familiarized with Zoom Nation. We already knew what Zoom Nation was, but just kind of like more in depth, seeing it from another angle, if you want to say.
And what is one of the illest memories you have from touring?
All right, so we was in, I think it was the south of France, and we was doing a party, and there was a b-boy dancing on the stage. And the stage, you know, when they build those stages, most of them, they have, you know, it's like panels. And this artist, while he was playing some music, there was a b-boy dancer, he was dancing, and he did a backflip. When he did a backflip, when he landed, the tile from the stage flipped, and he went under the stage, right? And everybody freaked out. They thought it was part of the show or something. So we, you know, ran right to that part of the panel on the stage, and we opened it. And then was like, you know, we was worried, like, wow, yo, hope, you know, this guy's all right. And we ended up pulling him out, and he popped out. You know, it looked kind of choreographed. And that was probably one of the highlights, if you want to say. And one of the other ones was, but I wasn't actually DJing. It was just, I was fortunate to be there. It was the filming of the Sprite commercial with the Voltron, you know, scenario. It was a scenario for Voltron in California, and it was Fat Joe, the Goody Mob, Mac 10, Common Sense, Bam, and Jazzy J, DJ Jazzy J.
Wow, that was a long ass time ago, yo.
Yeah.
No, that's where you know when they say you was born in the wrong era, that's the era I should have been born in. I promise you. Because I'm sitting here like a little ass girl, excited and shit, just listening to you. Because it's just like, this is like storytelling to me. Like, go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So that's probably like two. I mean, there's a lot of different events and stuff like that, but I would say those are like the two that stick out, you know, right off top. You know, that were like memorable times.
I wanted to ask, being an independent creator, what has kept you going all these years to continue to create, whether it's Bluntsquad TV, radio, touring, etc.?
Because I got the love for the culture, the music. You know, I have interest in what I do. So, you know, I think the first thing is having a love for it. You know, so whether it be music or video, you know, TV, or you know, just recording in the studio. It was like just having a passion and continuing it. You know, independent is just like over the years learning that, you know, that most of the time you're going to have to do a lot of work, footwork yourself. So that's how I look at it. You know, that's what's kind of kept me going. It's just seeing the progress too that you do. You know, when you do stuff by yourself, independently, you want to say.
So how did you go from like DJing over to Bluntsquad TV, then over to radio, then touring? Like, how did all that transition like itself? You know what I mean? Because I've been through that. So I want to hear your story. Be like, how did it transition all the way into like radio, TV? Because sometimes you start DJing and then you're just mainly focused on the DJ and the production part, right? And then eventually, how did that happen?
Well, the TV thing was a thing that didn't happen right away. It was like it was a thing that I took a class in the late 90s for, it was called field production at the time. And they was doing it for the local public access channels. And you know, I seen some programs that was on there that was, you know, they consider underground shows, but you know, they were some really good shows. And then I guess, you know, or with the music thing is always like the videos are always kind of gonna go hand in hand with it. So I don't know, it's just like similar to the DJing with the beat making. You know, I got interested. I said, let me go take this class that they're doing and learn about the camera, you know, and kind of, you know, just get more in depth with learning how to use a camera. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to, you know, turn on the camera and record, but, you know, kind of just getting more detailed and how to film right and things like that. So I took a class back in the late 90s. I didn't do anything with like I started filming after. I would say when I got certified, I just started documenting a lot of stuff. You know, it started locally, you know, with like friends, you know, events that we was going to, like the Puerto Rican parade and, you know, just certain local events. And then it kind of transitioned when I started touring. I started documenting some of the tours and just, you know, filming. And then I say about 2010, 2011, I decided that, you know, I kind of got a lot of footage and kind of, you know, somewhat of experience of the filming. And then, you know, I felt kind of like, if you want to say, I felt, you know, just sure that I could do something, you know, and confident, if you want to say, that's the word I was looking for. And so I started documenting it in a different way and kind of putting things in a format. And I started filming the events that we was going to kind of in a different way, and then editing them, and then started putting them on TV like sometime 2011, 2012, or I say about 2011. And then it kind of just built up to some other stuff where I started doing like restaurant reviews, because a lot of the tours that we was going to, or I would say touring all over the place, we was eating in a bunch of restaurants. And this is like prior to all these food shows that was going on. I think the only one that was out was, you know, Andrew Zimmer and the guy that just passed away, Bourdain. They were probably like the only two that was doing that. But, you know, I seen that there was nothing like that on a hip hop level or something that, you know, that came from a different angle. So I started kind of doing a lot of restaurants and then showing that, and then showing, you know, some of the touring. And then when when I was in New York City, I would, you know, showcase local artists, you know, that I knew or I was affiliated with, or they was affiliated with, things like that, or people that we was hearing from that were, you know, starting to make some noise. And that's how that whole thing started with the TV show.
That's crazy.
And you know, it's crazy that you mentioned the documenting everything, I remember being, God rest his soul. I remember being in Theo's when you would come through with the camcorder and plug it up to that big ass flat screen Theo had in the living room.
Right.
We'd be watching like the footage that you had got at the parade.
Right. And that was awesome. That was on the kind of micro level, but again, transitioning over, over the years, it grew from that, just documenting the parade to being part of the parade. I used to be a spectator, well, I'm still a spectator, but, now we got access to the parade. We go into the parade. I got to give a shout out to the organizers for the National Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. All the staff and all those people that work hard to put that together. They've given me the opportunity to come document, in the very beginning when I submitted to be part of the whole, press and media. They took me in with open arms, and we was able to document it from, again, from the inside out, getting access to a lot of big time celebrities that's on way high levels than we are. So I, again, looking from the outside in, now from the inside out.
That's dope. That's super dope, man. Oh my God. I would love to just like be there. Like my spirit just travel back then and just like watch it all. Super dope.
Yeah. So I want to dive into this music shit with you, right? Because you're someone who has always guided me in what I should be doing and what I should be going after. So with that being said, Hek, are you under Ascap or BMI?
BMI.
All right. So BMI. For artists who are watching this or listening and are unaware of what Ascap, BMI, or CSAC even is, could you please explain what they are?
Well, they're publishing companies. They are the ones that collect your revenue for you. They act like agents for any place that your music is playing that is copywritten and registered through one of the two or the three publishing companies, and they collect your royalties every time you have a radio play or something on a commercial or something like that. Anywhere that's public domain where they're paying royalties. They are like the collection agency for you.
Is there a balance of who's at fault for artists not knowing who ASCAP and BMI is? Should artists be at fault? Should their team be at fault for not educating their mans or their queens about ASCAP and BMI?
I mean, I think that it's always good to have somebody that knows that information. And, I think that, for the most part, if you got the information, it's good to help out the people around you, especially, friends, family, or whatever, so they could empower themselves, so they won't fall into a lot of the, the ills of the industry. So if you want to say they are for, I would say that it's important that if you're an artist, that you know that it's just more than creating the art, it's how you are promoting and distributing your art, because that's a whole different level. If you just make an art for the house, that's for you. That doesn't apply. But if you're getting it out to the public, you should know that there's a lot of things that come with that. And, the best thing to do is you as an individual not depend on anybody else. Again, it's good if somebody helps you, but, you should take it upon yourself to learn, the business or what business comes with your art once it comes out of your home.
And
how you said that.
How important is it for artists to have their own publishing under an ASCAP or BMI, etc.?
Yeah, it's important because, it's very important if you're going to be, promoting your music out there, or, where it's getting, airplay, you know, in different platforms, so you can get the royalties if somebody wants to use it, sample your music, your lyrics or your music that's originally made by you, you know, that you have to have the right to it. So that's like a registration, you know. Prior to that comes a copyright, but you know, the publishing is, you know, it's like when people put out books, you always hear, oh, I got a publishing company and all that. So it's a little bit different. It's similar but different in a sense of it, you know. I would say that it's important for you to get your own publishing, you know, so you could protect yourself. So if you're doing any type of deals outside with your material with any other entities, you have the rights and you own, you know, the publishing. That's very important. We hear that all the time about, you know, people having issues with publishing. I mean, this been happening since the 70s, 80s. You know, I'm talking about in the hip hop. You know, it's been happening in other genres of music, but I'm just saying in hip hop, for those listening to the hip hop, rap music, trap, whatever you want to call it, yeah, it's important for you to have your publishing.
Is college radio for independent artists? Well, should artists still be utilizing the college radio platform to be heard?
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much.
No. It's the motorcycle went by, but I guess this part of the interview would get chopped out. So what's the best way for artists to reach out to these radio shows to submit their music? Who should they be contacting?
First off is the DJ. The DJ from day one has been the one that, you know, gets the music out there. You know, second, program directors. If you're talking about program coordinators, you know, people like that. If you're talking about radio, you know, streaming platforms, things like that, you will want to get in contact with the DJ first and foremost, because they have the network, right? And they're playing in different platforms. And then the program director, because they are the ones that direct the programming. They're the ones that place, if you're trying to get on the top 40 or whatever, they're the ones that control that. So you have to make your connection with the DJ and then the program director.
How do you feel about like reaching out to like independent filmmakers and adding their music with like the audio engineering?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, soundtracks, I mean, you could become somebody big. I mean, if you don't make it in, you know, what they consider the mainstream of, you know, the music, you can always do stuff with movies where, you know, you make a lot of money and people won't even know it, or your song becomes popular over a movie, and then you know, your career can take off from there. So, you know, it could work either way. But yes, working in the film industry with independent filmmakers, new, because you don't know where that film is going to go, but you know that it's going to go places.
And should artists be looking into film festivals to try to network and connect?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, they have, you know, it's a network of people in there. You're talking about producers, directors, actors, you know, investors. So you're going to meet a bunch of different people. Plus the people that put those film festivals together also have events surrounding those actual film festivals, where they might have like a party or something prior or after, celebrating the closeout of that film festival, right? Or after party. So it's good to connect with them as well, because you can get in with the actual film festival itself performing for that event or events.
Word. Real quick, before we cut into this quick break, I want to shout out everyone who's been tuning in, whether you're a first-time viewer or returning supporter. Once again, this is season 2 of Quarantine and Rap. I go by the name of Ray Pearson.
I go by the name of Joe Milos.
And we have DJ HekTek up in here tonight, joining us for this dope ass conversation. So what we about to do right now, we about to step away. Once again, go take a look outside our window and let's see what's happening with the world. And we be right back.
Let's go.
Ow! Welcome back, Quarantine and Rap. We just came from looking outside while Hek found the time to mess with his turntables. But once again, we're back with DJ HekTek of Bluntsquad TV. What's good, Hek?
Yeah, man, just chilling.
All right.
HekTek.
So this is a little bit of a build-up because it's something that I came across earlier this week. Hek, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but last year started this whole trend of industry heads taking advantage of independent artists by charging them to be on mixtapes and overcharging and overbooking artists. Most recently, Jadakiss, Gilly the Kid, and Wallow, who were part of that whole mixtape scam movement, they were on Gilly's $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, where Jadakiss said while he lost a lot of money due to the pandemic, he also thanked Gilly and Wallow as well as Big Trill because he made a nice grip of that back. Now, Big Trill, if not known as, but is connected to an alias by the name of the Block 365, who was hiring all these industry heads and personalities to be part of this tag a hot rapper in your city movement. How do you feel about industry heads taking advantage of hardworking artists and giving them false hope?
What's new? That shit's been happening since back in the day. I mean, I'm not gonna fault nobody. You know, I say this, that I guess the pandemic showed who had paper or who didn't. You know, because when you have a lot of money and stuff like that, you don't gotta, you know, people still gotta make money, but you know, when you stacked up, you know, you don't gotta really, you know, ask anybody for nothing right now, you know. But I guess people, you know, they got houses to pay off and cars, so you know, it is what it is. But you know, it's nothing new as far as, you know, people in the industry, you know, gaining off of, you know, new talent or something like that that's not signed in the industry. That's why it's important to do your homework.
And in order to learn and grow, do you feel artists should fall victim to some fraud shit from people of higher power so that they won't make the same mistake twice?
Could you repeat that?
In order to learn and grow as an artist, do you feel artists should fall victim to some fraud shit from people of higher power so that they won't make the same mistake twice?
Nah, I think that, you know, that they should, whatever they could avoid, you know, and those, again, going back to what we were talking about, people having information and, you know, whether it be publishing or other things, you know, if you have that information so that person won't fall victim to, you know, if you have been one of those people, you know, is always good to, you know, give that information so that person don't fall into the same thing, because it's just the same, you know, we're going in the same circle, if you want to say. So I would say no, but, you know, there's some people, there's going to be artists that are hard-headed. They're not going to learn. They don't take advice or might not take advice, and they might have to go through a situation where they'll learn to do their business right. But I would say, again, you know, is the most important thing is to load yourself up with as much information as possible, and hopefully you have people around you that could spread that wealth as well, you know, as far as information.
What was the scam of your era? Because this is the scam of our era. Now let's go back to
Showcase. I mean, Showcase always been a scam. So that's the oldest trick in the book. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I guess it's hard to kind of because you have to build up a base. The whole thing about it is that when you have your own base and things like that, you have more leverage. You know, you don't have to do certain things, but for a lot of artists, they got to start somewhere. If you don't have a base, you know, you got to start somewhere. So, you know, showcases typically would be like the first place that you go and, you know, like try to perform for audience. The thing is that what are the incentives for it and what are the catches? You know, what's the catch? So, you know, you got to sell tickets and you got to pay to perform. Who's going to be the headliner? You know, is that person, the headline, bringing, you know, thousands of people? How is that going to monetize into you getting your money back if you did invest to be part of that bill? Because there's people that's done it and been successful. But again, the showcase thing has been one of the biggest thing where, you know, like they say they're going to invite industry heads and this, that, the other. And there might be some industry heads, but they're not going to sign no artists. You know what I'm saying? They just judging and all that. But it's really hard to tell because, again, sometimes, you know, it might work out for somebody if you know what you're doing, I would say. You know, but that was the biggest thing, showcase.
Word. And instead of investing $500 to $800 on a single mixtape slot with no major promotion and nothing else to come with it, what should an artist do with that amount of money to invest?
So this is pre-recording or this is them having music already?
Them having music already.
I would say after you have like visited all the channels that you could, you know, get the free promotion, invest in the platforms where the people are most at, wherever that is, whether it be on the internet, then what, social media, or is it performing at an event, you know, or being part of something where there's mass people there. Invest in something, and that's if you're trying to get or maximize off of your promotion. If you're talking about, oh, I got a piece of, you know, I got material, I'm trying to get it out there. So instead of me spending it on a mixtape on this artist, DJ that's gonna put me on, you know, let me see how I could spread that out. But $500 honestly ain't shit. To be honest, if you're really trying to get out there, especially the way it is now, you're talking about working the machine. And if you're not trying to get on that level, you're gonna, even on the so-called underground level, I mean, you know, how many people you're trying to reach, you're still gonna have to invest something. So 500 is a start. And yeah, if you don't want to spend on a mixtape, DJ, you know, put it in another resource where you can maximize. What are you gonna get for that $500? And also be aware that that you're not, you know, you're limited with that $500 as well. So.
Word. Do you feel mainstream radio, more so program or music directors, or even the suits, are to blame for a plethora of hip hop not being played in New York and the tri-state?
I would say yes and no. I would say we got to understand that this hip hop, particularly rap, trap, you know, drill, the music industry is an industry. It's a business. So when you talk about program directors, and when you're talking about the mainstream radio, right? It's not about where you're from. It's actually how much money you put in to get that song played. So what's happening is that all the out-of-town artists have the resources or put in the resources to make sure that they get on those radio stations. When you're dealing with mainstream radio, it's about advertisement and promotion. So you have to put in the money. A lot of New York artists might not have the resources, they might not have the distribution, or they simply are not putting their money where they need to put it, you know? If it's not working out for them, that's in that case. If you're saying that it's not hit, you know, why is it they're not playing? So you're hearing what artists from the South and all those other places is because they have invested. That's why Master P was so successful. That's why Cash Money was so successful.
And speaking of radio, for the viewer who's not aware of this, could you please explain what is payola?
Well, payola was considered illegal at one point, but it was where you would pay the DJ to give it spins, but that, at some point was illegal, but they did it. That was before hip hop culture that's existed. It was in the music industry because it's competition. Again, we going back to publishing. Every time the song is playing on radio, that artist, that record company is getting paid for that, right? So as many as times it gets played on the radio, it's getting paid. So you have to pay some money. It's advertisement. But at that time, it was like, well, I want to pay the DJs that are most popular under the table. So I make sure I get lines on the playlist, or, I'm number one on that playlist. So that's what it was. Now that doesn't even exist in a sense of it's illegal. It's just promotion. But, again, that's why it's important to work with DJs and build relationships with the DJs and program directors. Doesn't mean there's going to be a free ride, but you got to also understand that, again, in the music business, certain people have a, and when you're talking about DJs that are popular, they have a base. Then you have the radio station that has a base and listeners that are listening. So you got to take that in account. Back in the day, it was, there was no internet or none of that. So it was a little bit different, but it still was the same process, if you want to say, let me get my stuff on the spin. Because, you got a lot of people submitting music, and I wanted to, and typically it was the record company that would do that. That was the record company. It wasn't the artist. It was the record company that would do that to push, to boost their artists, to make sure they got the records, because they would, then the people would gravitate to it and open up doors. But then again, like I said, payola was pay the DJ. Let me get some spins.
Word. And should artists be paying these big time DJs like Flex or Self to play their music rather than the more independent DJs or those on the rise?
Well, are you trying to reach the base of Flex or Self? You got to take into account also, again, what is their base? How many people they are bringing into when they're playing these records from artists. If they have a large base, does it make sense for you? I would say visit all the independent DJs or the DJs that are coming up that got a base, because you build up almost like, if you want to say grassroots, or, you got to start from somewhere. So build yourself up to that point. You might need their services or you might not, but even if you become big, it's always good to, you're always trying to expand your base. So I would say that it depends where you're at, and as far as where you at with your music, what is your base, who you dealing with, what's your budget, but I would say, yeah, start from the beginning or the start, which is working with the independent DJs that have a base here, there. You have so many DJs now, and so that have their own base. Pardon with the background, it's the Bronx.
Word. With the way music has gone these past few years with the independents, should artists be trying to land major deals?
It all depends, right? Some say they need the machine behind them. Some people say they could do it independent. It's what can you do independently? And then when you talk about independent, nobody's really independent. We're talking about, we're using all these social media platforms. That's not being independent. That belongs to somebody else. and they're controlling that. So when you talk about YouTube and, you know, other social medias, you're not independent if you're using some other platform to promote your stuff. If you're paying for advertisement, now, if you want to go on a, you know, I want to go over people's heads, but I'll say this. If you want the machine to be able to hit every angle, so, you know, you want the social media to know, you want the MTVs and whatever mainstream platform that you think is relevant, then you're going to need that machine. You know, if you want to hit the top, because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. You're still going to need some type of help. So it doesn't mean that you got to go that route. It all depends where you're trying to go. Am I trying to go mainstream? You know, I'm trying to reach 10 million people. I'm trying to reach 20 million. And how much time? You know, my base is this base. You kind of just, you know, figure out where, you know, where you're trying to go with it. You know, I think it's individual, but, you know, the mainstream machine, major companies, they have the resources. They are connected to all these different outlets. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. And that is your competition if you're trying to compete on that level. So it all depends.
Word. And but moving forward, right? I want to talk to you a little bit about Bluntsquad TV. Tell us about Bluntsquad TV.
So again, I was saying before that, you know, it was kind of an experiment where I was documenting some of the tours. Over the years, it transitioned to me, you know, kind of structuring it and having like a, you know, just kind of scripted for the past, again, since like 98, 99, 2000, I would say, I started documenting, and there was no real format. It was just filming, you know. But then in 2011, 2012, you know, I was watching a lot of different TV shows and watching their formats and kind of building my own ideas from that, or taking, you know, ideas from here and kind of just making my own thing. And it became scripted. So I've started focusing on these restaurants. Like I said, we was doing restaurant reviews all over the world. We've done stuff in, you know, Italy, England, Germany, France, Dubai. I mean, so many different places, but we, you know, because we're based in New York, once the touring slowed down, I started doing a lot of local stuff. So a lot of my focus was on the show, if you want to say, was on, you know, restaurants and things like that, and also community events. So I was capturing community events, local artists, and things like that. So kind of to sum it all up is basically, you know, a variety show. You know, we touch on different subject matters. One of the highlights, as I said again, is the restaurant thing, because, you know, the food thing is big. Everybody got to eat food, you know, and food became like almost like fashion, you know what I mean? Right. And but I mean, like I said, before this was going on TV the way it's crazy, I mean, we was, not that I was the first one, but I was you know, I seen maybe one or two that was out there. And, you know, I'm into food anyway. We was going to restaurants all over. You know, we eating in restaurants in Italy, different levels of restaurants, 5-star stuff, places in the hood, you know, like, it's just crazy. So, and, you know, there's a lot of good food all over the world. And they say, you know, besides music, food brings us together, you know, so that whole connection of food and stuff like that. So I know another thing is that, you know, I kind of wanted to build on an audience outside of just hip hop. So I wanted to catch people that, you know, not necessarily into hip hop music or whatever, rap or the culture itself, but I know that they watch it because there's food there. They might like from some other country or some other place. So that was one of the ideas of bringing that together, and kind of also with the whole thing with the music, us showing, different up and coming artists, local artists, some international as well. We had some big artists before, like in the very beginning too, but that was kind of not formatted. We would have people like Future. We have Future on there, right? Like in early 2012. A couple of other different people, Method Man, Redman, just a bunch of different celebrities that some of it we haven't even put out some of the footage that we have, like is in the archive, Slick Rick. And then, just kind of bringing those worlds together and experimenting with that and letting people discover some of the artists and different things that we got going on with the show. And currently we're doing, for the past year or two, because we just been doing a lot of editing and stuff like that from all the, footage that we've been capturing over the years, is showing the top 10 international artists. So we show, 10 different music videos from artists from all over the world. I know there's a couple of shows that's on our network, doing that, but we kind of do it a little bit different. We show a lot of stuff that people haven't seen. Like I've been fortunate to meet a lot of people around the world, so I get a lot of exclusive stuff and get to introduce it to the people here in the Bronx and New York City metro area, before a lot of other people. So that's a cool thing. We showed your videos as well, obviously, Ray Pearson, and just a lot of artists, just showing like different artists. So it's not only like it's independent artists, but they're not like underground. Not everybody's underground. Like they're on different levels in their world. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are real big in their country. We might not heard of them here. They might not be that big here, and vice versa. So, we kind of just pushing that. We're on about 4 different networks currently in the 4 to 5 boroughs. We're in the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and by the end of this year, I would say even the end of the summer, we'll be airing in LA, Los Angeles, California. So the show is expanding over there.
That's dope. That's super dope.
So we just been doing that. Right now, again, just showing, we're showing videos, music videos mainly, but it's a variety show. We do a lot of highlights of restaurants. We've supported a lot of restaurants, showcasing local restaurants and, just promoting them and, community events. So it's a variety show. I can't really put it in a box. There's just so many things that come out of it. But right now it's music videos that we're showcasing, top 10 music videos from artists from all over the world. And it airs weekly. It's actually going to air in about an hour from now
nice.
on Break TV. Yeah. So we air 3 times I think it's 3 times a day on Break, twice a week on Bronx. No, about 3 or 4 times on BronxNet, a couple of times on Manhattan. But if you go to bluntsquadtv.com or check us out on the social media like Instagram or any other social media on the Bluntsquad TV, BLUNTSQUAD TV, you could get all the information there on what we've got going on and what's to come.
That's super dope. We need the kind of Jersey.
Yeah. We show love. We got love for Jersey too.
Yes.
What other networks would you love to see Bluntsquad TV on? Well,
we're working on some things like, we're gonna expand it hopefully to the Bay Area. Well, but that's in the works. I don't want to. It's most likely gonna happen, but that's in the works. Chicago, Philadelphia, and Florida. So that's in the works. I don't know when exactly this is gonna happen because the COVID thing is, this whole thing. So the studios and all that have closed down. So for us to get our show on these networks, you know, we got to deal with human beings. And right now, you know, people's not in their studio. So that's in the works. But expanding outside of that, we're probably gonna end up on like what this local channel here in New York City that airs in the tri-state area called the NYC channel, and possibly create, which is like an independent public channel where they show a lot of food related shows, you know. So we might have a food show. We're working right now on trying to do a travel show, where we're gonna be doing like, you know, just like doing something similar to what Action Bronson was doing with F That's Delicious, but you know, in a different way.
Word. That's real dope. And but as we get close to the end of this episode, I wanted to know, what is one of the greatest lessons you've learned along your journey that you try to teach those connected to you like me?
Information is important. If you want to say, again, the independence, if that even exists, but just kind of having more resources on your own, you know, whether it be information, doing things for self, is very important, because you can't always rely on somebody, and not only because that they don't want to help you or stuff. You know, people have different things going on in their life. So, you know, I learned that the more you know, the better, you know, you able to move better. You know, you don't have to depend on somebody. If you don't have that information, then, you know, you're kind of stuck, or, you know, you're gonna need to bother somebody else. So I think, again, information is key. And learning as much as possible on your own, you know, get as much done on your own, learning more than one thing, you know, not just music, is business and other things related to that.
Word. And Hek, here's the final question. Although you already spoke on Bluntsquad TV, I wanted to ask you, what's next for you, from producing to DJing, and will we ever get Bluntsquad Radio?
Well, I'll start with the Bluntsquad Radio. Bluntsquad Radio, we did Bluntsquad Radio when the internet first started with the streaming, when they had Ustream and all those different streaming, like the very beginning of the streaming thing. We was already on that. Now, what happened was that I think we would do an episode a week or something like that. It was good in the very beginning, but I got caught up with so many other things that I just didn't have the time for it. And then if I would have probably kept it going, then it would have built up to, you know, who knows what. But we was on that. So I don't think we're gonna go into the radio part of it unless it's like some podcast and some company comes to us with some money. But for now, I think the focus is the television show and building that up. You know, like I said, we're getting in a couple of different networks that are independent, you know, if you want to say community based, but expanding it, take it to the next level, like, which is mid-grade, if you want to say, before the mainstream would be, you know, like I said, Create NYC channel. That's where we're going. The show is going to be more variety, as we kind of fit in certain things that wasn't formatted that way, but we made it that way. But now it's actually going to be scripted in a certain way. So we're going to expand the show. We're going to be doing more travel. So I'm probably going to be in different parts of the world, showcasing like resorts, you know, where's the hottest places to go eat, where's the hottest places to go out for the nightlife, you know, where you go, where's the nicest beaches. But
I'm following you, baby.
You know what I mean? But on a hip hop tip. So, you know, with a little hip hop flavor, obviously, you know, incorporating, you know, music with that. And then as for myself, I would say that the music I'm working on a couple of projects. I'm not gonna talk about it till like they almost done, but I got a couple of things. I got like 3 projects that's coming probably by next year. I'm not gonna talk too much about it again, but there's something coming. Djing, as soon as things open up, I'll probably be at some local spots here in New York City, and if not, I'll probably be working in the studio all the way to the beginning of next year. And then I'll be out in Europe next summer, probably playing a gig. I'm working with a rock, a heavy metal group. I gotta give shout out to Dead Praises, that's in Paris, in France. They're blowing up out there on the heavy metal scene. I did a feature on there, you know, doing some rap stuff, and they're possibly gonna be touring if things clear up, because things are bad over there with the COVID right now. So most likely next year I'll be out there working with them. I'll probably be working in Germany, possibly with this group called Mighty Macumbos. We did a song in 2012. It's the Music. They're a funk band. It's actually well known in the European area. You know, it's a full band. And then I'm gonna be working on a project which I could speak about now that is almost done. BX to BX with my brother Defy J and Smimus out in Belgium. That you know, they're working on some stuff from hip hop pioneers from Brussels, and I'll be out there as well. So next year I'll be all in Europe, you know, and leading to next year, you know, just in the studio, banging out some tracks and working with you know, different artists.
Word. Yeah, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, we got you on something, yo. You already know we got you on this project. I don't want to talk about it till it's almost done. So it's there, almost there. But I just want to say, people, be on the lookout. I got some fire coming out, and he's part of that.
I want to know what restaurants you got going up over here, because I'm hungry. I'm looking at your page. I'm on some of that good. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, there's a lot of places.
We need some of this good food.
And I got to give a shout out to all the restaurants that gave us the opportunity to come up in there, not knowing, you know, especially with the name Bluntsquad TV, you know, it might have a stigma to it, or, you know, people look at us a little sideways, but we've been fortunate enough to get, you know, have our doors open up for us. And we've did nothing but produce. They see the work that we've done. And the food, I gotta say, there hasn't been really a restaurant that I could say that's been like whack, really. They came to the table, so whether it was to impress us, they did a good job. I gotta give a shout out to all the restaurants that have been on the Bluntsquad TV restaurant hotspot segment.
Nice, thank you very much.
Dope.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
So Hek, it was an honor. This was something that I would have loved to loved to do on season 1, but as they say, there's a reason for everything, and timing is everything, and it happened now with everything going on. I appreciate you taking the time out to be a guest on Quarantine and Rap. Thank you for the amount of information that you've given me throughout the years. You put me on my first festival stage, and it's because of you I have a different outlook on a lot of things that I do as an artist. I got my LLC because you had drilled the idea in my head throughout the years. Get your LLC, and now I have my LLC. You told me you need to start working on some Spanish joints for the ladies. Think of Pitbull, Flow Rider. Now I got Suave Ramon close to completion. And once again, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And once again, it was an honor to have you on Quarantine and Rap tonight. The floor is yours, Hek. Promote any and everything that you want to promote.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you know, again, it's about sharing information. Like, I come from that era, or, you know, that cloth of not trying to, you know, just bottle up information, and, you know, you don't give it to everybody, but you give it to who's going to utilize it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, those take the information and do what they need to do. As far as me promoting, I just want to shout out all my peoples, you know, I'm working, like I said, on a couple of projects. Shout out to Cabby, BX Profit, shout out to my peoples overseas, you know, there's so many different people. I got to give a shout out to DJ Raw down in Miami. Shout out to my man, James Roan, that's working on some stuff. There's a lot of people that I could shout out. I definitely got to give a shout out to my man Flex, working with Flow Rider. Shout out to Flow too. We got to see him this summer. And everybody out there doing music, man, just, you know, just being persistent and consistent, you know, and trying to learn as much as possible so you don't get caught up in the hole. So bluntsquadtv.com, djhektek.net, djhektek.net. You know, I'm on social media, DJ HekTek. I mean, everywhere, if you want to say, and then Blunt Squad TV, if you want to check out some clips of the show, Blunt Squad TV, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the social media. And then you could, you know, see what we're about and what we've been doing over the years.
Word.
Yup, like real good restaurants.
Yeah. I'm a foodie. That's why I got into it too. I'm a foodie, if you want to say.
Have you come down here to Jersey?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was talking to some people on Burger Line. The last time I was there, yeah, I was talking
Pass by
to some
Latin
people.
flavors.
Latin flavors. You gotta send me that. There's an empanada spot that's up there. That's fire. I don't know the name. I forgot. I think they got a spot in Manhattan too.
Well, the empanada spot in my area is on Wakeman Avenue, and anybody in Newark will tell you that.
Oh, you from Newark?
Yep.
Oh, you got some good Brazilian food, I heard out there.
Oh yeah, some good paella down here too.
Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna make my way. I definitely gonna do probably an episode in Jersey, but you know, again, I got
your plugs. Just
we might have to get you to co-host with us.
Let's do it. Yo, there's so many restaurants. You got Taino's Kitchen. That's a Puerto Rican spot that they have like the umbrellas and that make it look like San Juan, right? Like a little piece of San Juan. You have the where's that? Iberias that everybody goes to for steak or paellas is really, really, really good. You got spots down here. Trust
Definitely.
me.
I mean, I would say next year I'm gonna hit up. We're gonna do a whole episode in Jersey, you know, and possibly start off from Union City, going down to Jersey City, to Newark, and to Elizabeth, because I heard there's some spots. I've been to Elizabeth like 2 or 3 times, and they got some spots there too that are hidden. So I like that type of stuff. Or actually the host, because I'm not the host, I just do the production, you know, and work with the camera. But I mean, it's just like there's so many hidden gems, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I call those holes in the walls.
Yeah,
that's what I call
much.
Those.
Yeah,
I love holes in the walls, man. They're so good.
Yeah, they be bang ass food. These hole in the wall joints.
Yeah,
definitely. That's the ones that people don't. You see, that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we like to showcase those places. Like when you come into the city or wherever you coming from, if you're a tourist, you know, we don't want to just show the typical spot that everybody go to. It's like you might have to, you know, spend some change, take a cab or Uber or whatever, and go, you know, into the inner city. You'll be all right, you know, just go get your food and chill. And you
have you done like food. Have you done like Chinatown or Little Italy out there?
We did an all vegetarian spot in Chinatown in 2019, right before the pandemic. I right off the top, I can't give you the name of it, but it's on Mott Street. And I think it's been there for years. The owner's been on ABC. He's cooked for the people in the morning over there. So he's very well known. So that actually we're gonna release that in the next couple of weeks. So you know, again, bluntsquadtv.com or, you know, anywhere on the social media, you could see some of the stuff. Chinatown off the hook. Chinatown. Yeah, don't sleep on Chinatown. Chinatown got some real good food.
Yeah, they do. I went to a hole in the wall that they like when you walk in, it's just nothing but dollars everywhere. Like everywhere. Like, and so I took $1 and I wrote good luck. And then I just put it on the ceiling. They take it and they put it on the ceiling or wherever there's space. There's not much space, but they have dollars everywhere, yo.
That was in Wuhan?
Yeah. Over in Chinatown.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with New York. I'm in Jersey.
No doubt. But yeah. Shout out to Wuhan. We ain't do no restaurant review, but it's like one of the, I think the only 24-hour Chinese restaurants in New York City, and they've been there for years, and they got some really good food. Shout out to Wuhan. And that's not, we ain't do no review on that, but possibly in the future.
I think I just started some shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Same here. Thank you.
Word. So, right before I close this, I'm gonna let the both of you know as soon as this is over, don't exit. And on that note, once again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Quarantine and Rap. For me, this is pretty historic. I go by the name of Ray Pearson.
I go by the name of Joe Milos.
And on that note, y'all already know how I end the show. Right. Suave. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, welcome. My name is Ray Pearson. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Grab your drinks, grab your popcorn, get your notebooks. This is Quarantine and Rap. Yeah. Live from your mobile phone, TV, or PC. I'm on whatever screen you own. Jumping from tabs to apps, I suggest you don't. I promise you'll miss out on information that is vital. What I do is feature guests, I'm even call them the best. So I'm going viral with idols, it's so classic. Like cassette CDs and vinyls. You already know it's time for my show. Right.